And what's a method for identifying what we need to bias towards? Hi guys, I'm Dan Williams from Range of Motion, and I just wanted to talk today on programming, why it should be biased and individualized to you. Now, CrossFit is a GPP program. It builds general physical preparedness, which is great. It gets you good at everything, but it doesn't get you great at anything. And it improves your ability to do different skills by the same amount. So if you have a strength and a weakness, a general physical preparedness program will improve both your strength and your weakness by the same amount. Now, for a general population, this is great, but if you're looking to eradicate your weakness and strengthen your weakest link, individualized programming and biased programming towards your specific weaknesses can be a really good way to go. So let's talk about why. So imagine you have a wagon wheel with a whole bunch of spokes on it. Now, each of these spokes represents a different element of your fitness. On a super micro level, this could be individual exercises. On a more macro level, it could be broad categories of exercises, or it could even be elements of fitness. So a spoke could be a back squat, or a spoke could be powerlifting, or a spoke could be strength. If we want to take a health perspective on this, your spoke could also be resting blood glucose levels, or bone mineral density, or measures of stress or anxiety or depression. So theoretically, we could have an almost infinite number of spokes on this wagon wheel. And the more spokes we have, the greater a picture of your fitness or your health we can start to create. So each of these spokes, we can subjectively assign a score to a certain metric that we're looking at. So if we have a 1 on the inside of the spoke and a 10 on the outside, we can then rate each of these elements, each of these metrics, subjectively on a scale of 1 to 10. So let's say that we are assessing your proficiency in fitness, and maybe we've got strength, stamina, cardiorespiratory endurance, coordination, flexibility, balance, stamina, etc. We can start to develop a picture of your fitness and a picture of your health. And then as we join these scores together, we start to get a look at the shape. Now, if we go back to this wagon wheel analogy, if one spoke of a wheel is broken, that wheel will cease to turn. And those of you who participate in competitions, maybe you took part in the recent CrossFit Open, you will know that as much as you can have a lot of fitness, as soon as you get to this measure, which is your major weakness, that wheel will stop turning. So as this turns, we hit these measures which are our weaknesses, and they limit your performance. Now, from an athletic point of view, limiting your performance means that you don't score the goal, you don't win the race, you don't lift that final bar of the ladder. From a health point of view, these points can be what cause either shortness of life or some sort of either degeneration or disability. So from both a health as well as a performance perspective, these are super important. So what we need to do initially is look at this model and say, well, yes, we still want to improve these strengths and fortify those strengths, but these weaknesses need expanding. So our primary aim should be to get this shape, this circle, this wagon wheel, looking as concentric as possible. The size isn't important because what we're saying here is that you are only as fit as your weakest link. So currently for this athlete, this circle will sit here because although we have some measures further to the outside of these spokes, this is your weakness and therefore that's where the wheel is going to stop turning. So like I said, the priority is expanding that to form a concentric circle. Then we can expand that circle outwards to create a larger circle, and the area inside the point that's closest to the middle of those spokes, to the middle of the axes, is the point where you're going to get the most benefit. So how do we actually do this? How can we practically apply this model and this concept of weakness bias training into your training? Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll throw up another Facebook Live video. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer tomorrow in terms of how we practically apply this, please post them below. And I'll also post some information below and links below about Range of Motion's individualized programming and also a more in-depth analysis of this model of health. Any questions, please post them below. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again tomorrow.